this going. Yay! Okay,
Nice.
perfection. Let me just make sure we've got like the correct view and everything. I'm going to switch to gallery view. Perfect. Okay. And then I'm going to do one more thing. If I can do view, I don't think I can do special view here. It's so weird being on an iPad. Anyways, okay. It's
Yeah.
very different than a laptop. Okay. Anywho, welcome. I'm so excited, you guys, to introduce you to Rachel. Rachel graduated from the Wealth Academy, which originally was called the Wealth Mentorship back when? Remind me how long?
2021. Yes.
Oh my God. Like 2 years ago. So I'm selfishly so excited to just like hear an update of where she is and what she's doing. I mean, I know where you are geographically, but but yeah, I'm so excited. And I'm just excited for her to share with you guys like just her story, like where she was, like what the mentorship was like for her, her transformation and where she's at today and what she's doing. I know it's been quite the transformation. So Rachel, do you want to just like introduce yourself, like a little brief background? And then I also just want to say to you guys, if there's any questions that pop up, you can definitely drop them in the comments and either Rachel and I we'll see it in the comments. I'll also connect her like Instagram. Is that the best for you, Rachel?
Instagram's perfect. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I'll just like link her profile and stuff just in case you guys have any questions, because I know there's a lot of nurse practitioners who are curious about breaking the mold and setting themselves free and all the things. So do you want to give a little like background of who you are and like where you came from, what life was like before?
Absolutely. Yes. So different. Oh my goodness. Yes. So before working with Michelle, I was working as an RN for several years in the hospital and transitioned into the nurse practitioner role. And I was exhausted, burnt out. I knew I wanted something different, more fulfilling, and something that would give me more freedom, but I didn't know how to get there or how to make that happen. And I also wanted to provide more of a holistic approach to care, seeing so many gaps with our healthcare system and the lack of ability to truly support our patients properly. And long story short, I found Michelle on Instagram and connected with her there. And I was uncertain, I had doubts. I didn't know exactly what it would look like if I were to move forward with her program. And I started watching her stories and just was looking into what she was doing. And I'm like, something in me, I'm like, this is so good. This is amazing. And I just felt so inspired by witnessing it all and what she was doing and chatting with her. I eventually said yes to joining her mentorship, and I am so glad I did. I don't know where I would be honestly without it. I have no idea, and I don't want to think about where I would be. But I was so stuck before that. And then during her program, she just gave such hope as to what was really possible and really gave like step by step exactly how to make it happen in terms of starting your own virtual practice and learning all aspects of it from a place that is truly life-giving rather than soul-sucking and draining. And it also shifted my perspective of what was truly possible in terms of how we can support our patients and clients as well. And now I'm working with clients one-on-one in such a new way, in that I have relationships built with them and I truly know them, who they are as a person, all aspects of their life, and can really empower them over their health in such a way that I never would have been able to do had I stayed in a hospital, had I done even a family practice or stayed in that setting. I never would have been able to do that in that way. And that it just frustrates me as well with that approach. And it's so common to just spend 15 minutes with a patient and then maybe give them a medication or give them a diagnosis, but give them no other answer or clarity or guidance. And then they're off on their own, just stuck. And that's why we continue to see patients over and over again with the same thing, if not progressing, because we're not truly addressing the root of what's going on or spending the time that they deserve. So this approach, now we're able to support them in such a beautiful way that I didn't even know was truly possible until this journey with Michelle. And it's so good, like so good. And there's so many aspects I could dive into, but
Yeah, I would love if you're open, because I think Mavis is on the call too. I think she's a nurse practitioner. And I think one of the common questions that I get asked when it comes to nurse practitioners, and I know this probably varies state by state, but did you, and I would just love to know a little bit more about your background, like when you were working, you were working in a hospital, like more as like an FMP, and like, so you were seeing patients, just totally conventional route. Remind me, did you have a background already in functional medicine or like lifestyle nutrition, like anything like that when you first started the mentorship, or did you just like tell me more about that?
Yes. So I had a slight background. I did a functional nutrition certification program before and started getting my feet wet there in that sense, and also had implemented that approach and working with some health struggles as well. And I was burnt out and exhausted and dealing with a lot of health struggles personally, which also was part of my journey in transitioning to this approach. But other than that, I had no background with functional labs or implementing
Right.
those personalized protocols. And that is where I learned with Michelle all of those aspects.
Amazing. Amazing. I love that. I always forget that. I love that so much because it's like, it is such a big component. It's like people in the mentorship and like the WELLthy Academy, it's like you don't have to do the labs. Like there's ways that you can create programs without the labs, but I think you've obviously seen like the data, like the I don't even know what to call it. Just like it's like the veil has been lifted when you start integrating the labs. You're just like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, this makes so much more sense. And it makes
Yes.
sense to like you as the practitioner, but then also the client. So like everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows why they're doing what they're doing, for how long
Yeah.
they're going to be doing what they're doing. Like there's just a strategy, which I think is really helpful in getting better client outcomes. The other question that gets asked is around like supervising physicians, because that's like a thing in the nurse practitioner world, right? So
Yes.
did you decide to release your license? And if so, what was that process like for you? Like what, like from like mental, emotional, physical, like what was that process like for you? Because I know it's like, it's a thing. It's a thing because
Yes.
I know because I've been through it as well. Like, do you want to
Yes.
talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I would love to. Yes. And I did release it and totally let go of this in terms of holding on to that and transitioning to starting my own virtual practice. And it was weird because it feels contradicting at first. Like you feel like, oh, I've spent so many years in school working for this. I feel like I have to have this in order to practice. Like you feel guilt for letting it go. All of these emotions come up that are totally normal. But then you also realize, and this is another big aspect that I learned with Michelle's program, and that it also has a cost to it, because in the sense that there's a lot of restrictions that are required from you in the traditional world of medicine that are hindering your ability to support clients, and also hold you to different obligations as a provider that are more time sucking, energy sucking, and that aren't doing a service to you or your client. So I recognize, I'm like, it's not even worth it to hold on to it anymore, because it's only doing a disservice to myself and my clients, and allowing me to implement a whole new approach of healthcare in such a greater way.
Yep, totally. And so how long have you been without your license now?
Oh my goodness. Probably a year, a little over a year. Over a year. Yeah.
Any regrets?
No.
No, same. I'm always like, not at all. You couldn't pay me to go back into that world. That's amazing. Right. I love too, though, and something I want to emphasize for people, because this comes up a lot too, is like Rachel has a certification, right? And that piece is really, really important. And it's not, there's a lot of sort of gray area and like unknowns, because we are the early adopters. We're the pioneers in the online health and wellness space. And so, there's I don't want to say there's a lot of unknowns, but there's a lack of rigidity still at this point, where it's like it's not black and white. And so there is an aspect of really like tapping into your own risk tolerance. And so like it's not required to have a certification, but it is highly recommended. And so you can have a certification, like Rachel has a separate nutrition certification. And there's also the Wealth Practitioner certification that I offer inside of the Wealth Academy, which also counts as that certification. So it's almost acting like an additional layer of protection, right? To decrease your overall liability so that you can say, hey, yeah, I have a background. Like for me, I have a background in naturopathic medicine, in traditional Chinese medicine. However, I'm operating under my certification as a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. And same with Rachel. I have a background in nurse practitioner, nurse, but I'm practicing as, and how would you, I don't know what your title would be, but like a certified
health consultant.
Health consultant. Yeah.
Yes.
But like you have your certification too. So you can say like a certified blah, or like a whatever certified person or something. And so that certification just gives you that extra layer of protection. And in my opinion, that also that additional layer of confidence, right? And so that really affects how you show up in the online space and just how you present yourself just in this world. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So inside of the mentorship, you learned the labs, you started applying the labs. How, I would love to know, just because you had zero experience with the labs previously, what was it like for you to dive into that world? Because I know there's a lot of practitioners out there too that are like, I love the idea of functional labs. Like, I think they're really cool, but I don't really know how to apply them, let alone like, like how it seems like so big and scary. So what was your experience there?
Oh yes, that's exactly how I felt before before joining your program. I'm like, wow, there's so much to this. Don't even know where to begin. But they are, man, they are a game changer in so many aspects. They go above and beyond what traditional lab testing is done in the traditional setting in terms of getting so much deeper and seeing exactly what's going on in your body internally at the deepest level, and be so much more proactive and seeing things from a much wider perspective, a broader perspective. And it's been really cool working with clients now one-on-one who have had so much testing done before working with me. They've gone through so many things, haven't gotten any answers. And literally one client that I really like, the story just, it's like so heart-wrenching in that she, before working with me for years, had been dealing with so many health issues, have kept getting dismissed or being told that it's in her head, that her labs are normal over and over. She's seen so many specialists. And then our first consult call together, when we went through her results, she was brought to tears because she finally had answers for what was going on in her body. And it's just like, man, it's like, oh.
Yes, that is something that exact thing. Like I've experienced that so many times with clients. It's like, it's bittersweet because it's like they finally feel seen and like validated, like, oh my God, like I am experiencing this. And now it's like, okay, now I have the answer. I have like full body chills right now, but it's like, now I have the answers, right? And then it's like, you get to create that strategy. And there's so much more, I don't like this term, but like buy-in, right? There's so much more commitment and follow through because they can actually see like, oh, wow, like the data, like I can see it in front of my face. I'm not just questioning, like, am I feeling that? Is my body doing this? Like, there's so much, like, I feel like historically there's been so much disconnect with women specifically from our bodies where it's like, oh, maybe I'm not feeling that, or maybe that's just like psychosomatic, or like maybe and it's like, oh, okay, now I know what to work with. Now I have a direction. Now I can prioritize. Now I know why I'm taking this supplement, or why I'm following this nutritional plan, or why I'm doing this. And there's just so much more commitment to that process when they understand the why behind it, instead of just having some like hierarchical practitioner being like, do this thing that I'm telling everybody else to do. Just like, no.
Exactly.
So that's so cool. And how long, I'm just curious, like how long did it take for you to start feeling comfortable running these labs and to be like, okay, cool, like I got this, like I'm feeling like I'm getting it, like I'm seeing the patterns, I'm able to like cross-reference and like apply the protocols. Like what was that? How long did it take? What was that process like for you?
Yes. So it definitely helped by doing them on myself first during the program. That was so good in really learning how to apply it, and also just to address what's going on internally in your body as well and see what's going on. It's really cool. And through that, and then I would say, I mean, just through, I don't have like a specific time frame, I would say, but just as you can, each time you do it, you just get more comfortable and confident with it.
Yep.
And it can take months, it can take a little bit longer, it kind of varies, but I wouldn't necessarily like stress like, okay, this time frame, I need to have this down. Instead, just take it a step at a time. You learn every single time as you do it and apply. Every situation is personalized too, so there's always things to adjust and adapt, and it's really, it's so good.
Totally. I agree 100%. And like that, like I couldn't have said that better, because even 10 years into doing, 11 years into doing 12, almost, anyways, a long time, over a decade of doing functional labs, like every time I run them, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like there's something new. There's like a new layer or a new connection or a new like cross-referencing thing or something like that. And it's so true. And that's right. That's why they call it practice. But it's true. It's like every time you get more and more confident. And so it's like, if anybody's watching the replay, if you're here in the room with us, like just start. And I love what Rachel said. It's like, start on yourself. Like how fun is that to just like start experimenting and to really see. And I personally recommend, you know, definitely running everything on yourself first before you start recommending to clients and patients and things like that, just because it's such a different experience when you've gone through even just like the collection process and like all of that, to be able to explain that and to really share that experience with your client or patient is really important too. Amazing. Is there anything else you want to share about like the mentorship container, like that, like what that was like what you gained from that, what the community, what anything else you want to add?
Yes, I loved the community aspect of it, because you so often, especially before joining a community like Michelle's, you feel so alone. And like, I feel like I'm the only one like in this situation. I'm just so stuck. And just having that support, that community of other like-minded individuals pursuing these goals and doing something out of the norm per se in the healthcare world, it's so good just to have that support and community and cheering each other on. And everyone is at a different point in their life and business. And it's also cool just to see every aspect of their journey and to see where people are and learn and grow. And it's truly, nothing is better than being in a community of people that you want to, that align with what you're working towards as well. That just changes everything.
Yeah. Because then you're like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one experiencing this crazy whatever.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, totally. I love that. So do you want to share like what life is like? I know that was it right after the mentorship you moved to Hawaii, or like what was that timeline like?
It was pretty short after. Yes, it was a few months, maybe like less than 6 months, I'd say, after the mentorship.
So wild.
Yes, which was, I never could have even dreamed that would happen ever.
Like moved to Hawaii, met the man of your dreams, got married.
Yeah. So crazy.
Incredible. Yes. So you're like 100% online now. Like, what does that look like? Tell us about what you're specializing in, who your niche is, like, what's your program look like? Share all the things.
Amazing. So yes, 100% virtual, and really able to have so much more freedom with my schedule and have so much better boundaries with work and life balance, so that I can actually go out and enjoy and spend weekends going on fun trips. And now that I'm in Hawaii, I'm just out like going on all the adventures, crazy hikes and paddleboarding and all of the things that I like love to do, but I never would have been able to do or spend that time with had I stayed in the traditional healthcare world. And had I never gone on this path, I don't think I would be here in Hawaii. I doubt that. So it also inspired that move in terms of the freedom that this approach gives you in having your own practice. It's amazing what happens as a result of taking those steps. You might not even think that it's possible to make such a big move. I'm from New York originally, so I made a move across the country. I never would have imagined that before the mentorship, but then as you continue going through the process in the mentorship and learning and growing, it challenges you in different ways. And then you also start to align with what actually lights me up. What do I actually want to do? And it's really cool what comes to surface as a result of that, rather than feeling like you have to give all of your time and energy away to work in that aspect with the traditional world. And there's so many deep components to that. Oh my gosh. But yeah,
I know
so
it's like just real quick, like you basically figure out your purpose and your passion, and then it's like really awesome.
yeah, no big deal. Yes. But it's so true though, honestly. Oh my
It
gosh.
is. It totally is.
Yes.
There's like a whole process around it, like a total rewiring process that happens. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And as a result, also, I met my now husband in Hawaii, like 6 months after moving there. So good.
So
Oh
good.
my gosh. Yes, that was amazing. And there's so many components to it. And also, another thing that I want to share is so often we can let fear hold us back, even if it's something that is good or something that we know we want. We let fear get in the way of that, or like create this wall. And had I experienced that fear personally before doing the program. And had I not like said yes despite the fear, I don't know where I would be today. Like I literally am living a life that I never could have dreamed of, that is far greater than I could have ever imagined, and feeling like the truest version of myself ever. And it's like that, looking back, I'm like, fear has nothing on that.
Right.
Oh my
I
gosh.
like want to cry. I'm so freaking proud of you for just like doing it. And I remember just like when you were inside the mentorship, just like when you were figuring out your niche. Do you have the same niche, by the way, or have you shifted or have you adjusted, or like?
Yeah,
I'm so
I
curious.
shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
And now I hone more specifically on healthcare professionals, supporting healthcare professionals. And because that was me personally, an exhausted, burnt out healthcare professional dealing with issues and with health issues specifically. And now that's who I really align with and resonate with and want to serve.
That is so cool. That is so amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh, so good. Sandy, Mavis, if either of you guys have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments. Rachel and I are happy to answer those questions. If you guys have any, don't hesitate. Rachel, is there anything else that you want to add? I know like the fear piece, I think is so clutch. Like that piece it's something that we experience every single time we try to exit our comfort zone, right? Like it literally, like getting out of our comfort zone, like the definition of that is discomfort. Like it's no longer comfortable. And so a lot of times we just like interpret that discomfort as fear. And like that is like a gift from our body, right? Like our nervous system is like, hey, like we don't know this, you might die. And then you're just like, you literally have to like consciously rewire that and like be like, thank you, I appreciate you trying to like save me, but like I'm trying to like get to a different place right now. Like I'm not really stoked where I'm at anymore. Like it's time to do something different. And so it's like seeing that, owning it, not dismissing it, not bypassing it, but being like, hey, I see you, thank you, like you've served me in the past and I'm ready for the next level. I'm ready to do something different. I'm ready to have the freedom, the flexibility, the fulfillment, and like allowing yourself to move past that. And like you said, it's like fear ain't got nothing on like where you're at now. It's same.
Yeah.
saying like I had so much fear before I entered the online space, before I dropped my license, before I like really went out there. And it's like I could literally, like, how was I even in that place for so long? Like how did I,
Totally.
like, but now it's like, now I have a new comfort zone, and that's what
Yeah.
happens is we just like create a new comfort zone, and then we get to decide like, okay, cool, is this working? Is this something that we get to kind of alter or refine or whatever. Mavis
Yes.
says, y'all are awesome, very inspiring and insightful. Thank you. Got to jump off, but appreciate you both. Amazing. Thanks for
Aw.
joining us. Beautiful. Cool. Well, I think that was freaking awesome. It's so good to just like see you and to connect after so long, and just to know
Yes.
like you're doing it, you're living the life, you're making it happen. Like, so proud of you for
Yes.
just like following through, doing the work, and trusting yourself. Like,
Thank
holy
you.
wow. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So proud of you. Yeah.
Thank
We'll connect
you.
on the other side. Have a beautiful
Yes.
rest of your day. It was so good to chat with you and see you.
Thank you. So good to chat with you.
I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.